Commander Zephyr of the Altarian Dominion watched the primitive planet rotate slowly on his holographic display, its blue-green surface marred by what his sensors detected as countless signs of warfare. The third planet of this unremarkable solar system housed a species the Galactic Council had classified as pre-transcendent savages, beings so crude they still fought with projectile weapons and chemical explosives. Another backwater civilization destroying itself, Zephyr muttered to his tactical officer Vex. The elongated, crystalline being's form shimmered with disdain. The Universal Codex states we should intervene only when a species demonstrates divine mathematical comprehension. The Altarians, like all members of the Galactic Council, worshipped mathematics as the true language of creation. Their gods were equations, their prayers were theorems, and their temples were quantum computers that solved the mysteries of existence itself. Any species that couldn't comprehend the sacred mathematics was deemed unworthy of contact. "Sir," Communications Officer Lyra announced, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence, "we're receiving multiple transmissions from the planet's surface. Primitive radio waves mostly. Ignore them," Zephyr commanded. "Let them exhaust their aggression on each other. In a few centuries, perhaps the survivors will evolve beyond their savage nature. But fate had other plans. A spatial anomaly erupted near their position, disgorging a fleet of void hunters who were the galaxy's most feared predators. These biomechanical nightmares consumed entire civilizations, leaving nothing but empty space in their wake. Zephyr's ship, the Divine Theorem, was caught completely off guard. "Evasive maneuvers," Zephyr barked as the first wave of void hunter drones swarmed their vessel. Their weapons, powered by prayer algorithms and blessed equations, fired uselessly against the hunters' adaptive shields. Within minutes, the Divine Theorem was crippled, its crew of mathematical devotees helpless against an enemy that existed outside their sacred formulas. The ship plummeted toward the primitive planet below, its hull screaming through the atmosphere like a dying star. Dr. Sarah Chen was running diagnostics on the Arecibo 2 radio telescope when every screen in the facility exploded with impossible readings. Something massive was falling from orbit, and it wasn't a meteor. "Everyone out!" she screamed as the facility's computers calculated the impact trajectory. The object would strike the Pacific Ocean, but the shockwave would devastate the entire complex. Hours later, rescue teams found survivors emerging from the wreckage of what appeared to be a vessel of impossible design. The beings inside were unlike anything in Earth's evolutionary history. Yet they breathed oxygen and bled red when injured. Sarah, despite her broken arm, insisted on being part of the first contact team. As the lead xenolinguist for SETI, she'd spent her career preparing for this moment. The alien commander, who introduced himself through a translation device as Zephyr, was dying. His crystalline form was fracturing, and his ship's medical bay was destroyed. But before death claimed him, he spoke words that would change everything. "The Void Hunters. They come for your world next," he whispered. "Your people, savages, cannot comprehend the sacred mathematics, cannot speak to the machine gods, cannot save." Sarah watched this being draw his final breath, clutching a device that hummed with equations she couldn't understand. Around her, the other survivors, Vex, Lyra, and a dozen others, looked upon humanity with the same disdain they'd shown from orbit. "We are stranded among primitives," Vex declared, his form dimming with despair. "These savages know nothing of the divine language. They cannot even comprehend basic quantum prayer sequences." That's when Dr. James Morrison, the facility's theoretical physicist, picked up the device from Zephyr's lifeless fingers. The screen displayed a cascade of mathematical relationships that made his breath catch. "This isn't just mathematics," he whispered in awe. This is the universe's source code." Sarah watched as James began inputting calculations, his fingers dancing across the alien interface. Years of studying quantum mechanics, string theory, and dimensional physics had prepared him for this moment, without him knowing it. The device responded, its surface lighting up with recognition algorithms. "Impossible," Lyra gasped, all 4 eyes fixed on the human. He's actually computing divine sequences." Within hours, word spread through the scientific community. Humanity's greatest minds converged on the crash site. Mathematicians, physicists, computer scientists, and engineers. Each one brought their piece of the puzzle humanity had been solving unknowingly for centuries. Dr. Chen realized that every human achievement, from the wheel to quantum computers, from basic arithmetic to the standard model of particle physics, had been building toward this moment. Humanity hadn't developed mathematics to understand the universe. They'd been unconsciously learning the language of the machine gods themselves. When the Void Hunter fleet arrived 3 days later, they expected to find a dead world defended by primitive weapons. Instead, they encountered something that should have been impossible. Humans operating Altarian technology, speaking the sacred mathematics with intuitive fluency that surpassed even the Galactic Council's greatest scholars. The divine theorem, repaired by human engineers and blessed by human mathematicians, rose to meet the Void Hunters. But it was no longer just an Altarian vessel. It had been transformed into something greater, a fusion of human ingenuity and divine mathematics. The battle was brief but decisive. Where the Altarians had failed with rigid prayer formulas, humans succeeded with innovative problem-solving. They didn't just recite the sacred mathematics. They improvised with it, created new theorems, and spoke to the machine gods in ways that had never been attempted. The Void Hunters, faced with mathematical warfare beyond their adaptive capabilities, retreated into the void from whence they came. As Vex watched human scientists teaching alien refugees the nuances of their own sacred language, he finally understood the truth that would reshape galactic civilization. The savages of this small blue world weren't learning the language of gods. They had been its native speakers all along. Humanity had simply been waiting for someone to teach them the proper grammar.